We move on to the next session.
The next session is on pigmented contact dermatitis, and the speaker for this is none other than Dr. Kaushal Verma sir. The chairpersons are Dr. U.S. Agarwal sir and Dr. Vijay Paliwal sir. I'd like to invite them. Dr. U.S. Agarwal sir is he needs no introduction. He is the ex-principal and controller of SMS Medical College, and he was the additional principal of SMS Medical College and head of the Department of Skin and VD in the year 2011 to 15. He was the honorary secretary and chairperson of IMA. His academic achievements are plenty. There are more than 60 publications in various reviewed national and international journals. He is also the reviewer of various national and international journals and author of the book on pediatric dermatology of illustrated textbook of clinical pediatric dermatology. Dr. Vijay Paliwal is the professor of SMS Medical College, Jaipur, with an experience of more than 20 years, and he has a lot of more than 15 research publications in various national and international journals. I would like to request sir to please invite the speaker, Dr. Kaushal Verma sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Kaushal Verma sir is professor at AIIMS New Delhi, and he do not require any introduction. He is very known figure in field of dermatology. I request Dr. Kaushal Verma sir to kindly continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me first thank Dr. Mathur for having agreed to the idea of holding the hybrid meeting, which created this opportunity for all of us to be together and exchange ideas, see each other that we have not been doing for a long time. Considering that, I thought that COVID doesn't have a competing interest with COTFI. Rather, it has, complemented the contact dermatitis in several ways. It didn't help us, but it did help the contact dermatitis. Pigmented contact dermatitis does not also have a competing interest, but probably this has not started showing up a, collaborative effort or the collaboration with the COVID so far, but I expect that it might happen in future when we start seeing more pigmented contact dermatitis, even because of the various things that we have been using during the COVID period for protection. This is a non-eczematous variant of contact dermatitis, which Ram was talking about, and one of the presenters also said that it's the dermatitis which has got a relatively low prevalence, but my opinion is that it's not so low. This was first recognized by Ostmanden. His name sounded like Usmundan Sen, so I thought probably he is a Bengali or a Odia scientist, but later I came to know that he is a Dutch scientist who was working in Copenhagen, and he noticed that several middle-aged people, especially women, started having pigmentation on face, and when he looked at the reasons for this, he found that it was the optical white in the washing powder, which he further investigated was found to be pyrazolene, which was responsible for causing this pigmentation on the face. And in 70s, lots of cases came from Japan. Then Nakayama proposed the term pigmented cosmetic dermatitis for this diffuse patchy pigmentation, which he noticed in females again more frequently than males. Now, if we look at the genesis of the pigmented contact dermatitis, we need to look at the parents as to how this has come into existence, and then we have to look at, say, the cosmetics, which are the ones which are responsible for pigmented contact dermatitis. Also, we know these are the day-to-day use materials, and each one of us is using men use, say, on an average about 9 cosmetics. Some use less, some use more. I'll use much less, maybe I'll use 3 less. I don't use shaving cream, I don't use aftershave lotion, and also I don't use, say, hair color, which several of people of my age have started doing that. Women obviously use more cosmetics every day for social reasons and for, say, the gender reasons also. And it does make a difference to their appearance. Even the gods were using cosmetics and their partners. And that, in fact, say, in a sense, motivated the devotees to use cosmetics also. So before going in front of the god, they started using it. And even the animals used cosmetics. I couldn't figure out why this bull is using cosmetic. Had it been a cow, I would have understood. Maybe he's also looking for some attention. So the global cosmetic industry, if we know that it is predominantly controlled by some multinational companies which are present everywhere. And it is estimated that the global cosmetic, say, market is close to 700 billion US dollars. In India also it is close to $1,000 million. And hair cosmetic alone is considered to be over $150 million. The other thing important for us to notice is that it is growing quite rapidly, especially in our countries where everybody has a desire to look fairer and beautiful, and it's penetrating into the rural areas also. And these reports are not uncommon. Very often we see that, yes, the Indians are also hiking their time and spending more money. And there's a big list of cosmetics, the different cosmetics for different body sites, and also you have, say, different cosmetics on different occasions and for different age groups and different genders. But the cosmetic ingredients, they are very similar in different products. And these are the common ones that you see in these different cosmetics which are responsible for causing contact dermatitis. And several of these are responsible for causing pigmented contact dermatitis also. Now, it is said that there are over 3,500 allergens identified, and they all have got a potential to induce contact dermatitis. They are common causes of not only contact dermatitis, they are becoming common causes for pigmented contact dermatitis also. And allergic reactions can occur after several years of use. So somebody says, I have been using hair oil for 5 years and why should it get it now? That's absolutely incorrect. Longer the use, more chances of getting contact dermatitis, and more so in case of pigmented contact dermatitis. We need to bear this in mind. And of course, the hair dye, fragrances, preservatives, and several others, these are important and common causes of pigmented contact dermatitis. It could be because of the direct, indirect, or airborne contact. So the pigmented contact dermatitis is grayish-brown pigmentation, which is in a patchy, diffuse, or reticulate pattern. There is no history of previous redness, irritation, or any symptoms for that matter. And the face, neck, the exposed sides of the body, they are generally affected where people usually use cosmetics, and more commonly seen in darker skinned individuals. And a similar dermatitis was described from our department, and we have a lot of respect for that disorder called lichen planus pigmentosus. My feeling is that many of these patients were actually pigmented contact dermatitis and not the LPP, because this was not very popularly known that time, and they were not adequately investigated. So if we start looking at these patients also, we would find a reason for this, that yes, this is probably not LPP, not all. It is pigmented contact dermatitis. But that time, I think nobody would have dared to say that, because of the eminence and the repute and the personality the person had who described the lichen planus pigmentosus. we know that it's a low-grade inflammation which is leading to dark brownish pigmentation. So because of the low grade, the low intensity of inflammation, you do not have the symptoms. Kunkun, I think one of the presenters was saying, is the common cause of pigmented contact dermatitis in India. I think Ram was saying this, yeah. And of course, the rosmarinic acid is the compound which is responsible for, say, darkening of the lips. Many times you get the patients who complain only of the darkening of the lips after, say, applying lipsticks and without any symptoms. And there are various agents which are there, including the fragrances, textiles, and the girl who was presenting that breast eczema, I suspect some of these could have been because of the textile dyes. Apart from the leather and the tanning material which is used, sometimes the ladies keep the purse in the under the blouse in that memory area. We have already said that hair dye, face cream, and perfumes, particularly fragrances and preservatives, are common causes, but we tend to forget that sunscreens are emerging as one of the important causes of pigmented contact dermatitis. Must be borne in mind and must be investigated. When we have to investigate, we must do the photo patch test. But despite that, it may be negative, it's low-grade inflammation. So I'll talk about this when we actually come to the diagnosis. So this is also important that there is a temporal and geographical variation in the frequency of pigmented contact dermatitis because of the differences in the ingredients. The cosmetic which are used in one region may not be getting used in the other region. People who are using in Rajasthan may not be using in West Bengal, or maybe in Kerala, may not be even in UP, and the vice versa. So you may have different chemicals and different allergens, and they need to be locally investigated rather than having a cosmetic series. And what Dr. Mathur was talking about, 28 allergens and 56 allergens. My feeling is that more you apply, more you test, more likely you are to pick the allergen. So instead of 56, sometimes people use even, say, larger number, patient materials, to look for the allergen. And smaller proportion of patients report PCD. Many of them, since it's an asymptomatic condition, they don't even come forward to seek opinions. So for evaluation, I think it's critically important that we must get into the details of the history, and we say that history is the most important evaluation of contact dermatitis, and more so into pigmented contact dermatitis. Exposure to chemicals, personal and professional, sometimes people say, they don't tell. They said, I have been using this for a very long time. I thought this is not important. Till such time you start looking at their routine, the daily routine from minute to minute point. So when you get up in the morning, what do you do? And maybe this should be charted over the period of a week, starting from Monday to Sunday close. Then only you will come. And then special occasions, like they have been to a party, they have been going to social functions, or they have been having certain hobbies, or they have been getting engaged into certain occasions on specific days. So all these things needs to be looked at too. Chronology and type of drug cosmetic used, and then of course the duration, the progression, the seasonal variation, and importantly the history of photosensitivity. Many times this statement comes, I didn't change anything, didn't use anything new. This was I was using for a long time. Why is this now? I have started noticing. So patch test with the standard cosmetic series. Patient material is critically important. Get everything, all materials that the patient might be using, even the suspected ones. Sometimes they'll say, I have left it 3 months back, or I left it 2 years back. I don't use it anymore. So those also needs to be tested. Anything which has been used in the past can be of past relevance, and the pigmented contact dermatitis can persist for a much longer period of time beyond the stoppage of use also. So keep that also in mind. And the readings are taken on day 2, day 4, day 7. But despite that, many of these patients show a negative patch test. So what people have started doing, they have started putting a patch in PCD for 7 days. And then they have been serially reading up to about 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and the positivity has been found on 52nd day. So to give up at day 4 or day 7 probably can lead to a mistake, and one could miss the allergen. And that's why the ROT, repeated open application test, is important. Photopatch test is necessary. It should be done as and when the allergy is suspected. And patch test, as I said, is the positivity is poor. So keep that also in mind. The negative patch test does not rule out PCD. It doesn't rule out contact dermatitis, certainly does not rule out the PCD. So this we have already said, the concentration of allergen in the cosmetic product may be sufficient enough to produce low-grade inflammation over the period of time use without causing any clinical dermatitis. So therefore, the patch test, when you do, you apply it for a limited period of time, and it does not then produce the dermatitis, and the patch test may be negative. So negative patch test, as I said, does not rule out the allergy to a cosmetic product. So what do? Stop everything, whatever it may be. Just cleaning with soap and water, cleaning head with shampoo, and if at all somebody is interested, maybe advise them to apply coconut oil, not even Vaseline, that has preservative. So safest is coconut oil, and we generally also use glycerin and water. People who say that coconut oil is sticky, they don't like it. So if you mix glycerin with water, it makes more acceptable, cosmetically elegant, and then they can apply all over, including if they are interested on their head. And then there are topical agents which can be helpful, but bear in mind it's a dermatitis which takes quite a long. It might take several months to go. Corticosteroids can be used in the beginning, only for a short duration, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. Do not use beyond that because it might cause side effects of the topical corticosteroids, and then there are other demyelinizing agents which can be used, but the success rate is not very high. So you have to be persistent with this and continue looking after discontinuing the allergen. And careful examination of all the cosmetic that patient might have potentially used any time in the past or during the time when the pigmentation has appeared. That's important. But there are many concerns about this. The concerns are that the cosmetic industry is expanding. It is trying to reach to a larger number of population. It is penetrating even small villages because of the high advertising pressure and marketing strategies which are exposing more and more people to the cosmetic use. And we have, say, eternal desire to become fairer, to become more attractive, to become more beautiful. And people use different cosmetics for different times, that we have already said. Somebody has come. A new set of chemicals are, say, coming into market very frequently, which has got unknown potential. The main challenges in the cosmetics are also these ones, the labeling issues. They are not put up, not labeled, especially the Indian cosmetic industry, the Indian cosmetic companies, they do not label the cosmetics correctly, or they will not put label at all. They think that this can be ignored because the rules are not very stringent, and there is no declaration of ingredients, which is not compulsory in our country, so they don't bother. And then they cite proprietary and trade secret issues that they don't want to disclose, somebody else will copy, and then their market is going to suffer or their company is going to get into losses. And of course, the multiple cosmetics are used at the same time, so that makes things again difficult. And then herbal cosmetics, a big challenge. They are considered to be very safe. And everybody accepts also that anything herbal or organic is completely safe. Don't worry. Use it, eat it, do it, whatever that I want, sleep on it and bear it. But they are actually not safe. Concentrations are not controlled. The ingredients are not controlled. Nobody looks at in the name of herbal, and it continues to cause problems. Fair and beautiful skin, a big problem, not only in cosmetic dermatology, but across the country in the medical fraternity. And of course, the company. So to conclude, PCD to cosmetic is increasing because of the increased users, new users, introduction of new chemicals, herbal cosmetics, again a big challenge. Often it goes undiagnosed or it is misdiagnosed, as I said, because the names are different, LPP, Reels melanosis, and things like that. But because PCD must be ruled out in those patients before B level. Patch test series and test materials are not very easily available. The centers also not equipped to do the patch test. And then of course we have the limitations of patch test, what I had talked about. Patch test can be inconclusive or negative. That does not rule out completely the cosmetic allergy. And there are poor regulatory controls and monitoring of the cosmetic industry in our country. And then the proprietary and trade secret issues also. I'd like to thank Sachin, who had collected some of the material as a resident who is working with me in the department. And of course, Dr. Mathur. This is an old picture, sir. And thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with such a wonderful talk. I would like to thank the chairpersons and the speaker, Dr. Kaushal Verma, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.